Final match here for day number 2 of the Hearthstone Americas Grandmasters playoffs continues here as we have Purple versus Just Saiyan to wrap it up. We have 3 players in Americas who have determined their spot for Championship Sunday, and only one final spot either between these 2 players, one from Canada, one from US, players who have been to the World Championships who are trying to book a spot in the global finals. Only one player out of every region will be advancing. Saiyan has the Shaman, Purple has the Priest, and with a Zoo Warlock ban, which is pretty interesting. Purple could also be the 3rd player, like we said, to have Zoo Warlock in the lineup and to advance to Championship Sunday, which is something that we actually haven't talked a lot about prior to today, which is the 4th decks, right? People are focusing a lot on the main ones, Priest, Shaman, and Druid. What about Hunter? What about Warlock? What about Warrior?
You mentioned he might be the 3rd player to advance with the Zoo Warlock deck in his lineup. I will add on to that and say the 3rd player out of 3 to advance with Zoo Warlock in his lineup. There was one from each region. Tom 60229 from the APAC region, who has advanced to the semifinals, who has been piloting Zoo Warlock throughout the course of Season 2. And then, of course, Silvername over in the European region, who had an outstanding 2-0 performance through his bracket to advance to the semifinals there as well. So good showing from Zoo. We'll see if it can round it out on Purple's side, contributing to his lineup even if it doesn't get played.
Yeah, you know, Zoo Warlock being banned is kind of like a win for that deck, so that you could free up the other decks that you do want to play. And funny enough, Zoo Warlock is played a handful of times, but it's also been banned around half the times it's make appearances. Ever since week 3 to 4 onwards, Zoo Warlock had a lot of appearances, or sorry, week 2 onwards, after the Reno Mage patch came through. And then Zoo Warlock started getting a lot of bans. Ever since about week 4, though, it kind of started trailing off. However, whenever it did make appearances in lineups, people regularly banned it away after protecting their Priest. Pretty interesting stuff. And now we're going to go into the last games with the very same setup. This time, Saiyan is down to his last chance. He no longer has the comfort of being the #1 seed and having 2 chances to go through. If he loses this series, Purple's through, and both Radiance members will be eliminated from playoff contention.
The wild.
Longtime friends and teammates are now at risk of both having their Season 2 playoffs lives ended at the hands of Purple. An interesting contrast of personalities between these two. Purple, a rather bubbly character who likes to hear the sound of his own nonsense, whereas Saiyan refuses to raise the sound of his voice, even for the word risotto, Dan.
All very true. Quest Druid versus the Evolve Aggro Shaman. Saiyan starts off with the Underbelly Angler, card that is very difficult to deal with as a Druid player, but yet Saiyan doesn't have a way to capitalize. Not yet, at least.
You spoke about how you weren't a big fan of the Underbelly Angler in this list. I originally had an Evil Totem in this spot, where Saiyan and Muzzy in that practice group have deferred to the Angler. Frankly, I think that they are some of the weaker cards in the deck list, and it is more than anything a lack of other premium 2-drops to fit in the spot that has brought the Angler into this deck, because it does definitely have a noticeable lack of activators in contrast to something like a dedicated Warlock Shaman deck.
Yeah, I get where the Underbelly Angler is. It's like a proactive 2-drop. It gives you some, it gives you the ability to capitalize on having resource generation, keep your deck clean. Just not a fan. So I think it's the Angler.
Purple completes the quest efficiently and threatens to use his Oasis next turn. Hello.
Oh my goodness. This is gonna hurt. Purple should know what's coming next.
This is what the deck does, Dan.
And there's not much room for backfiring either, considering that there's no 2-drops. Raid leader buffing everything. This is a lot to fight back from.
So I want to point out that the light spawn is an elemental, which means that his attack power should be getting buffed by the Cauldron Elemental, but that's not how that interaction works.
Yeah.
Attack is always limited to its health total.
That is until you silence the light spawn, and then it becomes a 2-5.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Anti-silence technology. Well, Saiyan wins. Cool.
Yep.
Game number 1 in the book. The Shaman deck creating some lightning fast series.
I have been singing the praises of this aggressive Shaman deck, Dan. So far, it has had middling results. Frankly, it has not backed me up nearly to the extent that I would have liked it to.
Feels like it loses really fast just as quickly as it wins. It's one of those things where you can very rapidly identify what the game state is, and you know what it is? A-Bar, it's the ideal ladder deck.
It is.
If you're trying to race to legend and you're doing it in the most time-efficient way possible of jamming volume of games, this deck feels like very quickly you can identify what kind of hand it's going to be based off the percentage likelihood that you're able to get a really quick victory. That being said, this deck does have ability to go longer, just not too long, as you can see in the previous series. Saiyan up 1-0 very fast, and you can see why the Protect Shaman was important, but maybe even so that Purple didn't first queue Priest. And I think that's something that maybe people were expecting, right? When you protect Priest, ban Priest, the very common thing to do is to lead with Priest. And a lot of respect being shown by Purple, and for good reason. Druid basically didn't do anything that game.
Yeah, I think Purple very well may have seen Just Saiyan's queuing Shaman coming. Could have seen that being foreshadowed, and did not want to queue that matchup head-to-head. As good as the combo Priest is, I think I have at least convinced Saddle that the matchup is Shaman favored based on my experience playing it and what I have seen the last couple of days. Wouldn't surprise me if Purple has also come to that conclusion, wanted to dodge queuing it into Shaman. Didn't help him there, though.
Did not help them there, indeed. Saiyan, he's got the Highlander Hunter 1 game away from keeping his 2019 Global Finals appearance dream alive. Purple looking to make the every other year World Championship equivalent appearance on deck. In 2015, he appeared in the Hearthstone World Championship. In 2017, he appeared in the ACT World Championship. And in 2019, has the ability to go into the Global Finals. What a story that would be, that Purple every other year apparently turns it on.
Yeah, set the stage for this matchup as we saw it a couple matches ago. In the regular season of Season 2, this matchup went 8 games to the Hunter to 2 to the Druid. It was heavily, heavily Hunter favored. Of course, as soon as I finished saying that and mentioned how Ragnaros and Call of the Wild have been added to this Hunter deck, in theory, increasing its win rate in this particular matchup, it proceeded to get Omega dumpstered by the Druid. So we'll see if the trend continues.
I know what you did.
Sounds like a lot of cleaning up to do here. With an Omega dumpster. Saiyan starting things off with a Secret Keeper. Purple, Faith back in the Quest Druid. And I gotta say, that early curve from Saiyan, it's not tied together through a secret, but it's still pretty nice to have those early game plays as a Highlander Hunter.
Behold,
it's not impressive, but it's not irrelevant. The real power spikes from the Highlander Hunter deck come much later on in the game. Obviously, Dino Tamer Bran being first and foremost in that category. The chip damage from the early minions does pay dividends later on in the matchup, and frankly, playing them on turn 1, turn 2 means that with all of the high impact draws Saiyan has left in his deck, you don't have to worry about drawing those cards later.
It's true, although having a Secret would have tied his hand very nicely together. Secret Keeper would be a bigger threat. Masked Contender can be able to pull that Secret. Purple feeling comfortable enough to actually just take the hero power instead and hold on to things like the Wrath and the War Druid Lodi. Saiyan has an opportunity to set up a Van Cleave here in this position. He has the ability to coin with the Zephyrus and play a 6/6. That's a lot of tempo early game. And while he'd like to hold on to the coin for things like Call of the Wild, I have to consider pretty heavily in Saiyan's position whether or not he wants to start being super aggressive. Because if he goes for this Zephyrus, he does have the ability to go Eagle Hornborn Hero Power, or even Masked Contender Hero Power, and then find the way to close out the game from there.
Quick scan of Purple's Druid deck list here shows me that there are 0 copies of Mind Control tech to be found, so that is not a threat or a consideration on Just Saiyin's side. So I do like this incredibly high tempo play as well.
You know what I'm starting to realize is that this might be the way Edwin Van Cleef finds its way into the global finals. If Rogue keeps its position in the metagame, we have held on to the storyline for years that Edwin Van Cleef has made its way into every single championship lineup. And Zephyrus the Great potentially being that avenue once more, as this could be the weakest point we've ever seen Rogue be. And Hunter instead is the one that the Brotherhood is joining. Now, Saiyan keeps up the momentum through Sandbinder Elemental. Finds Ragnaros.
Whew. I mean, the pressure on the board is already a tall order for Purple to have to deal with here. And look at the follow-up Saiyan has to back it up, as he can feel it. He can feel his semi-final berth. It's on the tip of his fingers here. He's got Ragnaros on 8, Call of the Wild on 9, Zul'jin on 10. The pressure is not going to stop anytime soon here, Just Saying.
It was very interesting that Sand very quickly opted for the Sandbinder, but I guess it makes sense because he could have also drawn Siamot. Had he picked up Siamot, he would have needed to play the Mass Contender next turn anyways, and then go for Siamot on 7. Slody being a huge thorn in Saiyan's side right now.
Well, would you look at that? How about 7, 8, 9, 10?
Seems good to me. Saiyan, unfortunately, has to make a choice with how he utilizes weapon swings here this turn to clear everything off. He can set up the Mass Contender and the Equal Horn Bow.
All things considered, this is a fairly low tempo turn from Just Saying, and this is Purple's one window of opportunity to sort of pull ahead. Now the key thing here is, even though Purple doesn't 100% know that Saiyan has a Siamot, he does know that Saiyan has an Elemental in hand, so he's going to be thinking about Siamot, hoping to play around that card as well as possible.
This is why you play Druid, for the swings like this.
Sure is.
Two Anubisat defenders. All right, there's gonna be some fireworks here. Siamot and Unleash the Beasts. Now, with the Ferocious Howl being drawn and played and gaining 9 armor for Purple, seems unlikely that Saiyan can go for the just play stuff to try to burn your opponent out. This might look like to me an opportunity for Saiyan to set up Siamot as a 6/6, get that Rush Divine Shield, kill off that 3/5. Unleash the Beast does look also pretty clean, and it does curve into Call of the Wild. So what you can do is Unleash the Beast, Unleash the Beast twice, 2 turns in a row, and then Call of the Wild Zul'jin. Then use Siamot and Ragnaros after Zul'jin to seal the deal, because Siamot and Ragnaros both have immediate board impact.
Looks like Just Saying is inclined to agree. The 2 plays accomplish.
Wow. Wow. Big stats. Big board presence.
Oh, he can't even play the Ragnaros with the mana Wraith on the board, although he does have the Eagle Horn Bow swinging at that, but frankly, that is not his primary concern at the moment.
So Unleash the Beast. There's 7, 10, 18 remaining after he trades off these Unleash the Beast plus 5 attack minions on the board. 18 plus a swipe is lethal. Purple has found a way. The exception could be that he uses Siamot as a Wind Fury minion to trade. I think that's what he's going to try to do here in this spot.
Winds of the south, come to my aid.
Fury and Rush gives him the ability to trade off these 2 5-attack minions.
Certainly stems the bleeding, leaves Purple with a total of 10 power left on his board.
Another King Feoris opportunity for Purple. On top of the fact that he can innervate a hidden Oasis, although he would be full on board space. So I guess the... I don't think there's actually a good order to this, unfortunately.
What to do?
I mean, just playing the Feoris here, you don't get maximum value out of the card, certainly, but it's good enough to me. You're already so close to closing the gap here. Sending this over to game number 3, just saying with a wry smile, as I imagine he's gotten the idea at this point of why Purple would want to be killing his own minions.
Yep, 4 spells in the hand. Should be perfect allocation. There's not many things that can be backfiring anyways. And with that kind of board presence, Saiyan looks done here. All the most powerful cards in his hand, but not enough mana and tempo generated. Druid gets the win in game number 2 and sets the stage for a final face-off. It's Purple with his Priest and Shaman remaining up against Saiyan with his own Hunter deck. What's he gonna bring here to the table, you think? It's gonna be the big decision he weighs, because there's Hunter Druid versus Shaman Druid. Oh, sorry, Shaman Priest, excuse me. And that Priest is very scary, so it seems like to me we're gonna have a Hunter versus a Shaman face-off. I think both players are very afraid of the bad matchup, so to speak.
Would definitely be curious to see Purple protecting his Priest and then not queuing it with his tournament life on the line, given the raw power level of that deck and the extremely favorable matchup that it has into Just Saiyan's Shaman, right?
It's probably to keep the Druid accountable from saying to first queue the Druid in case his Priest got banned.
Right.
But at the same time, Purple had Zoo Warlock, so it is interesting, right? Like what he chose to protect either way.
The Druid, excuse me, to correct myself, not the Shaman, is the matchup that Purple knows is extremely in his favor if he were to queue the Priest. So the question then becomes, how concerned is he with his Priest going into Just Saiyan's Hunter? The Hunter statistically over the course of Season 2 of Grandmasters had the edge over Priest, though a lot of players I feel will debate that if they looked at just the raw data. It was 9 wins on the Hunter side to 5 on the Priest side. However, Highlander Hunter has changed in the last week or so. You can see Ragnaros the Firelord and Call of the Wild added. Those tools are not helpful in the Priest matchup whatsoever. Looks like Purple is opting for the Quest Shaman.
Quest Shaman it is. One final game to determine who is going to Championship Sunday, whose playoffs hopes will be cut short. Just saying, for Team Radiance, Purple from Team Temple Storm, there can only be one player that goes through, and after a season where both players ended with a very strong record of 9-5 each, who will be the one that gets the last laugh for today's Hearthstone Grandmasters broadcast? Let's start things off. Purple on the coin with that Desert Hair. All he has to do is pick up that Evolve, and he'll be sitting pretty. Saiyan has a Shimmerfly early with some pretty interesting options to follow up. If he gets a single secret, Mass Contender becomes really good. One of the most powerful cards in Hunter's arsenal. So much so that Saiyan has mulliganed in an attempt to get another secret. He mulliganed the Shimmerfly on one.
And finds the secret, although not in the mulligan phase,
sure.
to be fair.
Exactly. Mass Contender has a huge spike in win rate compared to other cards in the deck. Being able to play it on 3 gives it a very sizable bump. I think around 10 to 12% in terms of how effective it is. So the reason why I think I'm saying this is just so to hone on the fact that Saiyan really cares about having that Mass Contender trigger. It's a very big deal. Now he keeps drawing more secrets, which kind of goes against the Mass Contender idea.
The first one was nice. Numbers 2 and 3, not great, especially in this particular matchup and those 2 particular secrets. Snipe, Shaman plays a lot of 2-mana 1/1s that they are happy to have get sniped if that is a 1-for-1 trade that the Hunter wants to be making. Freezing Trap more or less suffers from the same problem. It is counteracted by the irrelevance of Shaman's minions.
Very true. Incidentally, though, Purple trying to trade preemptively to get ahead of a snake trap. Has seen that the secrets have been narrowed down to things that it's attacking the face or spell-related ones, or perhaps rat trap. Either way, Saiyan has the Sunweaver Spy plus a secret of his choice this turn. Snipe would probably be something to consider for Saiyan, given that Purple, if he is setting up for an Evolve, could be looking for a Mogu Flesh Shaper
Got
type
something
setup.
to hide?
But it's optimistic to say the least. Snipe is not very effective against Quest Shaman because they have so many small things. It's not particularly very good.
Not just the threat of Mogu Flesh Shaper as well, but just the fact that you really would rather not be developing a freezing trap when your opponent has these Desert Hares on the board, even at an inefficient mana cost that could later on become a valuable tempo resource alongside Evolve, as you get plenty of mana's worth of tempo out of that combination, the Hare Evolve, even if the Hare costs 2 additional mana.
Oh my. With that secret draw, Saiyan went from the previous game of the Highlander Hunter of not having any of the secrets to have drawn pretty much all of them except for Rat Trap, or Snake Trap, excuse me.
The Highlander decks giveth, the Highlander decks taketh away at times, Dan.
Well, I mean, this is perhaps credit to the Muzzy variant of the Hunter that plays much more proactive threats, right? You talk about how when... Oh man, this Evolve.
There it is.
Shuts down the Floop. Magic Carpet, which is a fantastic card. Necromechanic, which is your Death Rattle trigger twice. I don't know if that ends up becoming relevant here.
It's
But
unlikely to be
Saiyan is in
relevant.
a tough spot.
He can stem the bleeding here by using this Unleash the Hounds to clear off both halves of the Ancestral Guardian. Set the freezing trap, because even though Magic Carpet creates rush minions, they would have nothing to rush into, so if Purple chose to attack with either his Magic Carpet or his Necromechanic, that's actually decent value out of freezing trap in this matchup, so it might be as good as it's going to get right now. And then from there, you have a powerful turn 7, a powerful turn 8 to follow it up. You kind of cross your fingers and hope that Zul'jin appears soon and brings all these secrets back into the party.
So with that, Purple should pretty much understand that one of these is Freezing Trap, or most likely the one that's being played. Start things off with Nog's Engineer, which should finish the quest. Somewhat on the fence of that. I feel like Purple, if I was Purple, I'd also consider going Sludge Slurper first to draw a little deeper into the deck. Totally recognize the value of having multiple lackeys, but I also like the idea of having another card. But with the Magic Carpet, I wonder if Purple instead felt good about having more lackeys.
I am also intrigued by the additional card because we already have... No, I take it back. I like this. The reason that I like this from Purple side is that he's fishing for damage, and with both of your life drinkers already in hand, damage is more likely to come in the form of lackeys than it is from cards off the top of your deck at this phase of the game.
You find me wherever the action is.
How many King Crushes are we going to see traded today, Dan?
Pretty much all of them. Because I think Hunter is just in a position where it needs to get the right early game. And you saw kind of what happened when they do. Bloodyface was able to steamroll his opponents. Not really the case here. Game number 3 of Saiyan versus Purple. Purple looks like he's in full control. More lackeys coming in for damage opportunities. Mastiff should take down his King Crush pretty easily. Goblin Lackey can help get in on the party as well.
He could rush this Sludge Slurper, increases attack to 5. Without investing any additional resources, would be an efficient clear of the King Crush here.
I mean, he does also have the ability to like utilize his Necro Mechanic with the Witchy Lackey. Okay. I thought he was going to use perhaps more of his hand, but holding on to it. Now Saiyan picks up Zul'jin.
And that was absolutely pivotal. Saiyan is running out of time. Purple, due to the design of his Quest Shaman deck, is going to be able to continue to generate resources over and over again in the turns to come, and therefore it becomes Saiyan's responsibility to end this game sooner rather than later. The Zul'jin goes a long way with that. Saiyan already has an Unleash the Hounds within his Zul'jin pool. He can conveniently add this animal companion alongside it. But Call of the Wild is the real kicker. If he can pick that up and curve into this Zul'jin, that'd be an incredible amount of pressure. Might be able to close the game in just a couple short turns.
Purple really digging deep into the think tank of wondering how he wants to deal with this Ragnaros. Going wide is often a strategy you can use against Ragnaros if you don't want to dedicate all your resources into killing your opponent's Rag. Seems like that's it. Gonna let this Ragnaros live. Saiyan has the Shimmerfly and the Animal Companion.
To my side.
This Ragnaros, where it hits, could have big implications. Sniping the Life Drinker would be big.
Purple again, even in the face of a Ragnaros, chooses to float his 1 remaining mana with 1 mana minions in hand. A quick glance at Just Saiyan's deck list shows that there are no mind control techs. So there's no reason necessarily he shouldn't want to put additional minions on the board unless he's valuing the Battlecry abilities on them so much so that he is willing to risk taking additional damage from Ragnaros.
So squishy.
Rat Trap gets activated. Mind Control Tech can come out here as well. Purple freeing up the board space first. Steals the Ragnaros! That could do it here for Saiyan as he leans back into the shadows as Purple charges forward for potentially the game-ending push. Another Animal Companion comes to the hand of Saiyan, but he really needed, well, Mind Control Tech to not be in the hand, but also to keep his Ragnaros. Saiyan still has Zephyrus as an opportunity. Ragnaros goes face. And it looks like it's the Hyena Alpha.
It just has to be Zul'jin. You no longer have the luxury of waiting around any longer.
Here comes the big ass.
Saiyan already looks defeated. Let's see if Zul'jin has anything to say about that.
He's got the secrets. Secrets help keep things a little bit more complicated. Oh my goodness.
This was a great start.
That's a lot. That's a lot, actually. That's massive.
Okay, game on.
He can clear off most things. Isolate this 8. I think he can isolate the 8/8 for Freezing Trap. So, absolutely one of these dogs go to the 5/1. I think you want to clear off Ragnaros. That gives you 3 dogs to attack and 3 minions you want to kill.
Hurry.
Saiyan also has to be considering what his best odds are of counter lethals here, though.
Oh, you're right. I wasn't even counting that damage. He has 15 the other way.
He can't afford to not isolate the 8/8s, and if the Ragnaros hits one of his minions, but that exposes you to Sandstorm Elemental so badly, he has to respect that to some extent.
At this point, you got to make a choice. He's at 21 health. He's calculated that if Purple went face with everything, was able to land it, he wouldn't have enough. Purple with a Life Drinker would be 6 plus the 16 would be 22. Wait, that's not 22. That's 18 damage. Sorry about that. Anyways, Purple trying to figure out the best way to handle this. He knows every secret in the pool. And with this, he can mind control tech and potentially steal a dog to help reverse things.
It's incredibly difficult from Purple's perspective to figure out how to put yourself in the best position while only playing 2 cards here, because if you trigger that rat trap, it can undo a lot of the tempo you're attempting to gain by emptying your hand.
I mean, I think Purple might actually just go for the victory, potentially. No, he's gonna go for the evolve on the Jumbo Imp.
And then stop there, I imagine. Oh, he can't evolve the Jumbo Imp. That is a 10.
It's a 10. There's no 11 cost minion. Sand picks up the Sandbinder, which can potentially pick up the Zephyrus, but it only has 4 mana remaining. I don't think that's enough to deal with this right now.
It would have to be a 2-turn setup.
Yeah, perhaps instead it's a Hyena Alpha, going very wide onto the board.
You then push 1 damage with a Hound and use the other one to clear off the Jumbo Imp. That leaves Purple at 14 life.
Wait. He knows about the mind control tech.
He does.
But it's 5 mana.
Do with you.
Animal Companion is something that Saiyan's weighing in this position. Is there an opportunity for him to simply get that hover and push with only 3 minions?
Saiyan looks like he is going to risk going wide on his board, setting up Zephyrus for the maximum number of Bloodlust lethals, potential Savage Roar lethals alongside this Animal Companion.
Yep. Heart of the face. He's counting. And Purple needs to find a way to turn this back. He has a Shudderwalk in hand. Shudderwalk has a lot of things invested, including Life Drinkers just to gain life. And he's got the coin. The coin Shudderwalk. And I think that should be it. Shudderwalk has 2 Life Drinkers in the pool. And with the coin and the hero power, should be at least able to deal 12. And unless I'm missing something, that should be the game in the series.
I believe the fact that both Shudderwalk and Purple's hand are glowing green here does indicate that the game is in fact over. So enjoy the animations while they last, folks. Purple is the one advancing to the semifinals here, eliminating both members of Radiance, Muzzy and justsaiyan, in back-to-back matches.
With a come from behind victory, Purple, who started off today 0-2, dropping very quickly to Bloody Face, ends up redeeming himself through the lower bracket, beating Muzzy, beating Sand, and no doubt he has earned a spot in the top 4. I was told by some of his practice partners that Purple has a big strategy coming into playoffs this weekend, and most of his friends, cohorts, were giving me the eyebrow raise saying, Purple's a genius, just wait. I mean, with the Zoo Warlock lineup, that also means that the 3rd player that's brought Zoo this weekend is going through. Perhaps he is a genius, and there is a lot more that's happening than meets the eye.
Yeah, Sottle set it up yesterday. I believe he full stop said that when Purple is focused and trying his hardest, he is the best player in the world, was Sottle's stance. He looked incredibly dialed in there to me. Based on his lineup, he looks like he was dialed in on the preparation phase of this tournament as well. He seems motivated, and his play was on point there. The one knock, of course, was the attempted evolution on the Jumbo Imp, perhaps, but he hit the keynotes where he needed to.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So with that, we have all 4 players determined for the semifinals for all regions that are participating in the Grandmasters. We're going to recap very quickly what happened in America's Bracket B. Saiyan started things off getting the initial bye because he is #1 seed. So we started off on the lower part of the bracket with Purple versus Bloody Face. Bloody Face was then able to get 4 quick victories over Purple and Saiyan to get that first spot. And then as you can see, Purple also had to go through the losers bracket gauntlet, going through #1 and #2 points earner from 2018 in San and Muzzy. San and Muzzy, of course, are still boot camping for Bucharest, but in terms of their 2019 journey, it's ended here.
Eddie versus Purple and Bloody Face versus Nalgidan will be our final 4 from the Americas region. As you can see on the top half of both of those 2 brackets, we have the members of Lazarus that have been leading the way throughout the regular season in the Americas region, following up their performance with an excellent display in the playoffs. The only question remaining is, will they end up playing each other in the finals of our Americas Season 2 playoffs?
Yep, there's a lot going on. First is that Bloody Face could be another member of yet the back-to-back World Championship / Global Finals appearance club, which would be really big for him. Purple can get his 3rd appearance every other year. Nalgidan could actually put up a full Latin American sweep over America's Grandmasters, and Eddie could be getting his first campaign into putting himself as one of the most dominant players in Americas, as he has yet to get a world championship berth. So it'd be really interesting to see any of those 4 players go through, particularly because I think new blood is always really exciting in Hearthstone. That's partially why I think Hunter Race was so compelling. But, you know, that's going to be part of it too, because Europe has a bracket of 4. Asia Pacific has their bracket of 4, and it's got a lot of previous champions and historied players, but we also have a lot of fresh faces here.
Yeah, I think there's been some real ups and downs in the Americas region over the course of the regular season for Season 2. Players struggling at points and then picking it back up at other times. But I would say that the players who have emerged out of the Americas region, who have a world championship now on the line, are some of the ones who certainly deserve to be there. I've been impressed by them consistently, and consistency is the key to success in Hearthstone.
It's been a wonderful day of broadcast, but this one is over. It was quick, but it was efficient, just like your Hearthstone decks should be. If you want quick, efficient decks and access, go to playhearthstone.com/esports for all things related to Hearthstone Grandmasters, whether it's deck lists, the schedule, VODs, and more. We're done here from Frodan, Abar, Sottle, and everyone else here in Studio 5, Burbank, California. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.